Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Yogesh Khitra, a scientist in the field of dairy technology from National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal. Today I am going to talk about dehydrofreezing from paper, principles of food processing and preservation. There are various methods of food preservation and most of these methods aim at reducing the water activity of food, that is the ratio of water vapor in foods to the ratio of vapor pressure of pure water. Dehydration is the most common methods of reducing water activity and is being used for preservation of many foods. Similarly, freezing is also a technique which is widely used for food preservation and which mainly involves arresting microbial growth at sub-zero temperatures. Now, coming to the dehydrofreezing, it is nothing but a combination of dehydration and freezing. The objective of the module is to understand the basic concept of dehydrofreezing, then to differentiate this dehydrofreezing with freeze drying, and to learn the comparative advantages of dehydrofreezing over other conventional preservation techniques. So we'll start with the basic definition of dehydrofreezing. Dehydrofreezing is a term used as a combination for dehydration and freezing. Dehydration and freezing are the widely used techniques for food preservation, but both accompanies several disadvantages. For example, during complete dehydration, some inherent nutritional and sensory properties of foods are lost, and after reconstitution, it is not possible to obtain the original texture of the food. So, during dehydration, reconstitutability of the product is an issue. Similarly, when frozen foods are thawed, they suffer significant textural changes. This dehydrofreezing is a new method of food preservation wherein drying and freezing both are used in sequence. Foods are first partially dehydrated and then frozen. Generally, about 70% of the moisture in fruits and vegetables are removed by dehydration and then stored in the freezer. This combination of two techniques instead of using any single method offers several advantages. So coming on to the advantages offered by dehydrofreezing process, various advantages are: the food carries good flavor and color. Less space is required for storage in freezer. This is mainly due to the reduction in volume during dehydration. Then it also enables faster reconstitution, approximately one half time than that of traditionally dried foods. It also offers an advantage of faster freezing and less ice crystal damage than a conventional process. This is obviously because of the presence of lesser moisture. Then less refrigeration heat load is required since less water is to be frozen in this case, and it also offers an advantage of less packing and distribution cost, again due to reduction in volume. After discussing the basic concept of dehydrofreezing and its comparative disadvantages over other techniques, we will now discuss the dehydrofreezing and we will compare dehydrofreezing with freeze drying. Although the term is very much similar to freeze drying, dehydrofreezing is not freeze drying. Freeze drying is a dehydration process in which a liquid or slurry products are frozen and then dried under vacuum such that ice directly sublimes to vapor. It should be noted that freeze drying is only a dehydration technique which is employed for some specific type of foods. For example, foods where nutritional loss are of much more importance. In contrast, dehydrofreezing is not just a dehydration, it is a combination of dehydration and freezing. Convective drying, vacuum osmotic drying, and osmotic drying are the three main processes of dehydration before freezing in dehydrofreezing method. Of these three methods, osmotic drying is the most common method which is being used. It has been used for dehydrofreezing of kiwi fruits, pineapple, apple and many more foods. Dehydration using osmotic drying followed by freezing is often referred to as osmodehydrofreezing. In osmotic drying, a food is immersed in a concentrated solution. The principle of osmotic drying is water transport from food into the concentrated solution, that is from high concentration to low concentration of water across a semi-permeable membrane. The most commonly used solutes which are used in osmotic drying are sucrose for fruits and sodium chloride for vegetables. Osmotic drying offers advantages of less energy consumption, while the disadvantages are longer drying times, leaching of natural acids and increase in the sugar concentration in the fruit, which may result in altered sensory characteristics and acceptability of the product. As I said, osmotic drying is the primary method of dehydration used in dehydrofreezing. The advantages that osmotic drying offers over convective drying before freezing are: first one is better product quality in terms of sensory characteristics, primarily due to less heat damage as the product is not subjected to higher temperatures. Then presence of high amount of sugar prevents discoloration of fruits by enzymatic oxidative browning. Then this osmotic dehydration consumes less energy as it can be conducted at low temperatures. Moreover, further freezing load is also reduced as most of the water is removed. Dehydrofreezing can also be used for preservation of pineapple. Several studies have been carried out on application of dehydrofreezing on preservation of pineapple. So in a study on dehydrofreezing of pineapple, the effect of osmotic dehydration and convective drying was evaluated on the quality of pineapple. So these two dehydration techniques were used for evaluating the quality of pineapple. Drip loss, ascorbic acid content and change in the mechanical properties of tissues were kept as indices for quantifying the effect on quality. So these three indices were kept as the dependent factors for quantifying the effect on quality. The osmotic dehydration was carried out using a sucrose hypertonic solution of 60-degree Brix at 40 degrees centigrade for pre-established time. The pre-established time that was studied in this study were 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes and 180 minutes. The results of the study suggested osmotic dehydration as a better pre-treatment for freezing as compared to hot air drying. However, ascorbic acid losses were more in dehydrofreezing. So we have also seen earlier that osmotic dehydration offers several advantages over convective drying, and this has been proved in preservation of pineapple through dehydrofreezing. We have seen the advantages of osmodehydrofreezing. Now we will come to dehydrofreezing of various fruits and vegetables. Dehydrofreezing has been in practice for several fruits and vegetables. We will see the principle of dehydrofreezing applied in apple, kiwi fruit and some other fruits. So to start with apple, for osmodehydrofreezing of apple slices, dehydration was carried out to a point of a 50% weight reduction using concentrated sugar solutions and then frozen at minus 35 degrees centigrade. So initially the apple was reduced to a volume of about 50% and then it was frozen to minus 35 degree centigrade. The effect of the treatment was evaluated by determining physical properties of the product. The results indicated that the presence of sugar increased firmness by providing protection during freezing. It was also studied that the effect of dehydrofreezing or sensory attributes, color, texture, water activity, and on reducing and total sugars. The product obtained by dehydrofreezing at 55 degree Brix, 35 degree centigrade, and for 60 minutes showed that 93% acceptability. However, the texture had slightly lower acceptance of 81% due to softening of tissues during freezing. So we have seen that it can be successfully applied for preservation of apple. Dehydrofreezing has also been used in the preservation of kiwi fruits. In a study, kiwi fruit was dried using a combination of osmotic dehydration and convective drying, and its effect on sugar concentration, ascorbic acid, and texture in dried and dehydrofrozen kiwi fruit was studied. Sucrose was used at two concentration of 60 degree Brix and 72 degree Brix after convective drying. Combined drying resulted in lesser time to reach final desired moisture content without significantly affecting the overall quality of the food. So in this case, rather than using any single dehydration technique, a combination of dehydration, that is osmotic dehydration and convective drying, was used prior to freezing for osmodehydrofreezing of kiwi fruits, and the effects and the results showed significant differences of using the combination of these two techniques. Well, dear students, let us now summarize the topic. We have seen the basic concept of dehydrofreezing. We have also seen its difference with other conventional techniques like freeze drying and dehydration. So we have come to a conclusion that dehydrofreezing is nothing but a combination of two techniques, that is dehydration and freezing. And the food is first dehydrated to about 70% moisture and then it is frozen. So dehydrofreezing has been used successfully for preservation of several fruits and vegetables. In dehydrofreezing, as we are initially dehydrating the food, for dehydration, osmotic dehydration is the major technique which is being used. So osmotic dehydration is the major method employed for dehydration prior to freezing. The method of dehydrofreezing offers advantages of being economical with better quality retention of the product when it is compared to the processes of convective drying or freezing without prior dehydration. Thank you.